106. Going dark.
Can I help you? What's up?
Hey everyone, welcome back to Tactfully Misguided. I'm Patrick, and my guest today is Cate, soon to be Mrs. Hutch.
Hello.
Go ahead and introduce yourself and tell us what you did.
Absolutely. Well, my name is Cate Snyder. I was in the military for about 3.5 years, got out a little early for medical reasons. I was in military intelligence. I was an intelligence specialist. After I got out, I went straight to college, got my associates in theater, and got my bachelor's in anthropology, and now I'm getting ready to start my master's degree in forensic medicine. And currently I'm going to basic law enforcement training here in North Carolina as well.
Wait, so if you're doing that, what are you going to do with your degree then?
With the degree? Oh,
yeah.
that will help speed up my process to get to maybe a higher level of maybe leadership, or maybe it can specially designate me to certain areas.
The O side?
Well, everybo's on the O side there. I got corrected on that during my ride along, actually.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because I was trying to ask questions about, like, how do you talk to people in a police environment versus the Marine Corps environment, and I was saying, well, there's Captain G so-and-so, and he's like, you have to get one thing straight, all of us are officers in this building.
Oh.
And I was like, oh, okay. Duly
I did
noted.
not know that.
Duly noted.
At all. I thought it was the same premise of the dark side versus
I thought it would
the
be
light
too.
side being enlisted.
Right? But it's actually a lot more relaxed. They usually call themselves by their rank whenever they're out in public, or if there's like a higher form of leadership there, like chiefs are there or captains are there, that kind of thing. But if they're just talking one-on-one with each other, you usually either call them by their last name or their first name. It's really interesting.
That is. Now I know that. Mm-hmm. I'm still going to refer to it as the dark side, though.
No, I agree.
It's all the dark side. All right, so in Intel, what did you do in Intel?
Oh, my.
Because intelligence in the military is an oxymoron.
Oh, 100%. So it depends on where you're designated. I, unfortunately, was sent to a training battalion as my first unit. I was sent to 3rd Intel in Okinawa. Okay. So never really got the opportunity to deploy. There were opportunities to deploy, but you had to be like the best of the best, or an ass kisser, in lack of a better term, in order to get what you wanted. And most of those deployments were with CIs and counterintelligence, and with our GSP unit in particular.
Going out and doing the fun stuff. I mean, we had two Intel guys with us on the first deployment that I did to Norway, and literally their whole thing, like, they had to kick a class to, not the boat, but to everybody, like all the Marines on the ship. They had to bring us into this cramped ass little freaking room, like a berthing, and kick a class on operational security, Purple Dragon shit. And so we did like Bridgeport prior to doing that for the cold weather training and shit. One of our freaking staff NCOs, I'm not gonna name any names, but it was fucking hilarious. He got called out instantly within the first 5 minutes of the briefing for posting his exact grid coordinates from his Garmin when we were on it was the highest peak that we got to in Bridgeport when we were at 11,000 feet. As soon as we got up there, he posted a picture with his face and his Garmin showing the exact grid coordinates.
That is wow.
So he got fucking thrown up instantly in front of everybody. It was hilarious.
Yep. Oh my gosh, I would have been laughing at that too.
that was a big concern, because we had Russians that were kind of example, outside of the wire, when we were in St. Jordan, the National Guard for the Norwegian National Guard had they had control of the gate and everything, and there was a black SUV, I think it was like a Sprinter van actually, but it was posted up outside, and we had Wi-Fi. Most of us got international calling before we went, or international data or whatever, and they were worried about people posting things and all that stuff.
Yeah.
Because they were sitting out there listening in.
Oh, absolutely.
And trying to catch our shit.
It's not even just that they're listening in. Even if you take a photo, it doesn't matter what it is. It doesn't matter where it is. They are able to track that
Geotagging.
photo for sure.
That was they wanted all of us to make sure that we had geotag turned off on everything.
Oh, absolutely.
Which I already had that anyway. Actually, no, I didn't, because I didn't even know what the fuck it was then. It was the second time I went that I had geotag turned off on everything.
And depending on which social media you use, they can also track where your post was sent from as well. You know how some people like to tag, like, I went to this brewery today with my girlfriends, or I went with my fiance today, that kind of thing. And then they put like the brewery, and then you click on that, and then it shows you the exact location of where that brewery is. That doesn't necessarily turn off, even though you turn it off. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah, so I'm always careful with what I post on Facebook. I'm a lot more relaxed about it now, because in another line of thinking, what can the Russians do with my information in particular? You know, like, all they're gonna see is I am a 30-year-old woman who lives in Wilmington, North Carolina, and I have no real like information to give them. I'm just your basic American woman, essentially. You know, it would be different if I still worked in Intel, or if I was a higher rank in Intel and I was doing more specialized things in that regard, but I'm not. So I'm a lot more relaxed with it. I'll post photos with me and my fiance in it all the time. I
post photos with your fiance a lot too.
Oh, I bet. And he's a good-looking man, so I don't blame you.
The hair and the beard.
Oh yeah, it's definitely the beard.
One is envious.
He said he was compared to Conor McGregor the other day by a murder suspect? Yes, it was. He just came in with the thumbs up. Absolutely.
I can see that, definitely.
Has the point and everything. But yeah, I'm usually I never post exactly where I am, unless, you know, it's because some businesses also get credibility with like Facebook likes, that kind of thing, or how many people check in. So sometimes I'll do that, but I don't really do that very often. If anything, I'm kind of incognito on Facebook. I'm more on Instagram anyway.
A lot of people are now.
Yeah.
I got called old by my class when I started at UNCW. First fucking day, because I had to go through one semester as a freshman, so I'm in class with all these like 18-year-olds and shit, fresh off mama's titty. And the professor, for whatever reason, asked what social media is everybody uses. You're like Snapchat, blah, Instagram, blah. And she said Facebook. Not a fucking soul raised their hand except for me, and then everybody looked back at me and they're like, what?
Wow.
Nobody uses that anymore. You're old. I'm like,
oh my God.
Shut up. You don't remember MySpace.
Yeah, exactly.
It was the shit.
And there was one before MySpace, and I can't even remember the name of it. That's how old it is. I think it was. It started with an X, I think.
There was one that
really
Facebook was based off of, that started Facebook. It was like it wasn't Meetup. It was something else, but
yeah, the name is escaping me. Every time that comes to mind, I'm always trying to remember exactly what it is, but I don't have the energy to go ahead and
Google
Google it.
The mental energy.
So it usually it's a fleeting thought for sure. But
one day it'll strike me at a random time.
Yeah, I get hit with that a lot, like little mental flashbacks of everything. Like, oh, I remember that from when I was 4. Interesting. That was so long ago. That was what, 26 years ago? Oh God.
All of that is massively misconstrued on my end. Like I don't think my first memory is before I was like 6 or something like that anymore. Because it's all I just fucking twisted. Anyways, all right. So what made you choose the Marine Corps?
So actually,
or cream corn.
So I was actually just talking to somebody about this the other day, and they were really confused by my answer. So I looked into almost every single branch except for the Coast Guard, naturally.
Fucking puddle pirates.
I actually started with the Marine Corps. And then I looked at the Army. I tried the Air Force first. I tried to contact the Air Force first, but the Marine Corps contacted me first.
Of course.
Air Force never got back to me. Even though I think I got like a 72 on my ASVAB or something like that. So I scored high, but I guess not high enough. Well, it's not good enough standards for the Air Force, that's for damn sure.
Yeah, they want like 99%.
Really?
It's something like that. It's in the 90s, definitely.
That's so dumb. But then I had the Navy recruiter actually came to our house, and he presented everything like, the Navy's a big party. You could get a tongue piercing if you wanted to, just as long as it's clear. And I'm just like, I don't like you, so no.
Fucking business in the front, party in the back.
Absolutely. Oh, God. But I think the biggest thing that made me join the Marine Corps is, this is going to be a really weird answer, but it kind of scared me. You know, joining the Marine Corps kind of scared me versus the other branches, and it was kind of a decision that I had to make where it was like, you know, if I don't go through this boot camp, then I'm never going to know if I can make it.
Yeah.
Kind of thing. So that was one of the reasons, and I really liked the essence of camaraderie that the recruiters like to put out there, like that sense of family, sense of belonging.
The brother sisterhood.
Yeah, absolutely. So I would say that's the
I
biggest
definitely
reason.
found that to be true. Because when we were at the game, the Sharks game, as soon as you mentioned that, I was like, Marine?
Yeah.
Another Marine?
Now it's like that since we're veterans, but it was interesting with me being in, and especially in the intel community, I really did not get that vibe from my shop. No.
Now, I mean, it's a different. So there's something to be said about ground side and like infantry and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Versus all the other MOSs like admin, well, I don't know too much about counter intel, but intel, logistics, supply, stuff like that. It's definitely a difference in communities too. Yeah, there was a combat camera girl that I went on like my worst date ever with. She's TikTok famous now.
Oh, jeez.
But like the way that they acted around like higher ups and stuff. We came down here, right? So we came down for our date. We were gonna go on the Henrietta because we thought it was I thought it was a dinner cruise. Absolutely not. It's just the history of Wilmington on a boat. So flop there. But like on the way down, she's talking about how her mass sergeant is like, I guess a little bit senile or whatever, and like he was on leave, and her and another lance corporal were like going over to his house to like take care of his house while he was gone and stuff. And I'm like, fraternization really only exists between enlisted and officers, allegedly.
Yeah.
But like that big of a gap there, like that's a little strange, and that would never happen in the track community. That would never happen in an infantry battalion.
Yeah.
So it's weird how that's.
Well, even in my first unit, I was you actually just reminded me. My SSO had a lance corporal that was underneath him, and he was a gunnery sergeant, and she would constantly come to his house to like help watch his kids, like take his car to the car wash, that kind of thing. It was really weird. I thought that was very, very odd.
How fast did she get promoted?
Honestly, I think she might have stayed. I think the highest rank she got to was maybe corporal, but she wasn't in my MOS. She was doing something with like, I don't even remember. It was like some kind of signals intelligence thing. She wasn't a 26. I don't remember what the MOS code was, but it was something really random that I had never even heard of before. But it had something to do with like electronics, I think, or something like that.
That's a little creepy on the gunny's part too, to be honest.
Yeah, he was a little bit on the odd side.
Yeah.
Yeah, there were quite a few of those in Intel. Shocker. I mean, it's a nerd-ish community, so you would already kind of assume that, but then you're dealing with an even odder community because here's how I kind of logic through the people that I met while I was in the Marine Corps. You're already going into a branch where there is a select amount of people that want that sense of belonging and want to be like the few, the proud, that kind of thing. They're there with all the recruiting gimmicks there. That kind of thing.
They want to be the poster child for the Marine Corps.
It's either they want to be poster child for the Marine Corps or they don't feel like they're anything doing what they are now, so they bring all that mental health stuff in the military with them, and then the military becomes their sense of belonging. You've probably dealt with higher ups that it's like their entire life is the Marine Corps. Like it doesn't matter if he has a family, wife, kids, or if he has anything out there. The Marine Corps is just him.
Mission matters. Mission first over everything else.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's kind of, I saw some of that when I was in my first unit. But I didn't really see like more of the like what you would expect on the infantry side of it. But you definitely saw how the higher up you got, especially in the intel community, the more politically oriented you became. And maybe that just makes more sense with going up in the ranks. It becomes more political intrinsically, but it's a completely different animal with intel. Maybe it's the kind of information that we get and the type of people that we get to meet. But who knows at that point.
So you made a good point on that with the mental health issue. So almost every single one of my guys, very, very few of them had a normal life before they joined. Most of them were beat, abused. My buddy Coors, and you would never fucking guess it by talking to the kid. Like his mom used to literally give him cigar burns and shit, like every night. His mom, not his dad. His dad wasn't around. So, because I made it a point to start paying attention to that when I was in, because that's how I was. Like when I was growing up, like my entire childhood was pretty fucked up. So when I joined, I was alone. I was by myself. I was on my own, and I didn't see another option.
Same.
Didn't have the brains for college, or I didn't think. I didn't even know how to do the fucking application process. I don't know how I figured it out afterwards, because I'm even fucking stupider than I was fucking 11 years ago.
Well, you don't join the Marine Corps to read, that's for sure, or count.
And I had this conversation too with Drew, the recruiter on the last episode. It's like there's nobody that joins anymore nowadays. Anyway, it's very seldom that you find somebody that joins for what I deemed as the right reason, being I want to go to fucking war. I want to go fight. Oh, free college, you say? I don't care about that. That's why I'm here in the first place. I didn't want to go to school, so I'm here now.
There were a lot of girls I went to boot camp with that was the reason for joining. Like, oh, I get free college out of this. This is going to pay for my college. I mean, it is expensive to go to college, but that shouldn't be the reason why you join the military, because you need to be ready to go out there, and you need to be ready to lay it down for everything.
Because it doesn't, going in with that mentality, one, you're going to be a shit fucking leader if you reach NCO.
100%, yeah.
Because you went in for a selfish reason. You didn't go in because you wanted to actually serve. You went in for your own fucking reasons. And then, like, you're not, like you just said, you're not ready for war. You're not ready for combat. I strongly fucking believe if war popped off with China, which that's the latest and greatest, the next fucking thing, I'm not going to say we're going to lose, but there's going to be mass CAS in the first few months of it on our side. Because everybody works for Chow and Libo. That's what everybody works for. They're not there because they're there to do their job. They're there to get off of work. Basically, none of them want to go above and beyond anymore. Which, I mean, I saw that a lot.
Well, at the same time, like, what incentives are their leadership giving them to be able to work above and beyond? Because it's not like they're going to be going into that combat scenario. They need to be ready. So I'm not arguing that they shouldn't get ready, because in my head, like, I mean, it's the same thing with being in the police or a firefighter or anything like that. You have to be physically and mentally ready to go into whatever. Like, even if you're chasing after somebody, you have to be able to run after them and tackle them and be able to put cuffs on them. You know? And they're still going to be fighting you. You know, you need to be quick if somebody draws a gun on you and you're in a close quarters situation. You know, you need to be able to think. Like all those
fucking dudes that are like, oh, I don't need cardio. All I need is my 45.
Oh, jeez. Wasn't it Joe Biden that said that there was a weapon that literally put a hole in your chest or something
no,
like that?
He said 9mm will blow your lung out.
Oh, jeez.
Grand Thumb covered this one. Because over there at a Grand Thumb, they believe in science. So they put it to the test. And it was fucking hilarious.
Oh, my God. I'd pay money to see that.
But now, speaking of Uncle Joe, let's get on to the next topic here. So yesterday marked the 1-year anniversary of the 13 service members that were killed in Kabul during the withdrawal. So it's just like, to me, that date is just like freaking 9/11. I remember exactly what I was doing when 9/11 happened, where I was, and I remember exactly what I was doing and where I was last year. And me and Nick went to Afghan 3 times So he really felt a certain type of way about the whole thing.
Yeah.
Because it was almost as if everything for the past 20 years didn't fucking matter. All the training, the deployments, the deaths, none of it fucking mattered anymore. And a lot of dudes, like suicide rates spiked drastically because of that.
Yeah.
And me and him we were sitting there watching it, keeping up like all day at work, and you'd have people coming in and basically just forgetting why they even fucking came in and just sitting there watching it with us and getting just as fucking mad and frustrated with the whole damn thing.
I can't believe he did that. You know, he did not think Biden did not think at all.
That's not uncommon, but...
Well, I mean, absolutely no. Like, I mean, the man has had, what, like 2 aneurysms, 3? Who knows how many? Like, I'm pretty sure mentally he's still in, like, the 70s or some shit.
Which,
but,
he fucked up then, too.
Yeah.
Look at Saigon, and then look at Biden's fucking political history. He was a junior senator during that time, and he was one of the junior senators that voted for the hasty pullout from Vietnam. Time marches on, we get to 2021, and he's the so-called stolen fucking commander-in-chief, and he does the same shit that they did. Lessons weren't learned.
Yeah.
They were not learned. And we have another Marine Corps veteran that comes in. He was I think he was either a lieutenant colonel. He retired as a lieutenant colonel or a colonel. He was in Vietnam. He was a pilot. And when all this was going down, he was in there with us shooting the shit. And Nick looked over at him and was like, "Is this what it felt like when you guys pulled out?" And he was like, "This is worse." Cabal was an absolute fucking shit show.
Yeah. I remember just seeing the photos of them and just like getting that pit feeling in my stomach. And I know people that deployed, and if I felt like that and I hadn't even had the chance to deploy, that's probably like 20 to 30 times worse for anybody that even spent time over there. It's like, what good was anything that anybody did over the past 20 years? Like, it's just like, screw that. Trump was in charge of this. We're going to take away everything that Trump did. And that includes his dealings that he had with the Taliban at that time, too. So all that went down the drain. So because even after those bombings happened, the whole culture, all the population in that area, it went to shit real quick.
Oh, fuck yeah.
Yeah.
So, I mean, they were at the point where, you know, women had salons. Like, they didn't necessarily have to completely fucking cover themselves anymore because you were fucking stoned to death if you didn't. And so they, like, really hated it because I did the integrated task force thing, which brought in females into combat arms jobs. And that was one of the top concerns was the fact that would paint a freaking target on patrols and stuff. If you have a female on point leading a patrol and they can tell, they can see it, because it was against regulation for women to get fades and shit, so you could tell.
Well, but I saw women get fades though. Like, they weren't strong fades.
They weren't supposed to.
They weren't supposed to.
I
but
never understood that.
I never saw anybody get in trouble for it.
I watched.
Not unless they wanted to full G.I. Jane it. That's different. But
I had a mechanic that did that, and I mean, she freaking was the salt of the earth. Like, God couldn't touch her. And then you had I had an operator that even considered doing that and got blasted for it.
Yeah.
But, you know, that's neither here nor there. But
like, if you're going to be in that situation, you know that there's going to be a target put on you like that, and like they see things like your bun, because that's going to be the most defining feature. Like, if they're looking at you through some kind of scope out in the distance, like, oh, that's the person that's in charge. There's that donut behind their head. That's a female, you know. But I would see
and by instant reaction, because they already knew by this point too. These guys have been fighting for 20 fucking years. Over 20, well, that entire country had been fighting for 200 some years. But this particular war, you had the same exact fucking people for 20 fucking years fighting. Yeah. Versus people that came, like us, that came in on 6 months to a year rotations.
Yeah.
So they had basically picked up and knew like if all right, so if you hit that fucking female, drops.
Yeah.
What is everybody else going to do?
They're going to go for the female.
Emotions are going to take over, and they're going to go try to get her the fuck out.
Yeah.
And that's not to say that wouldn't happen with anybody else, but the doctrine was, say, like a four vehicle section was moving through a target. Vehicle goes down, you don't stop. You have to get out of the kill zone.
Right.
And then after the threat is annihilated, then you go back.
Right. And that makes more sense to me.
That was doctrine.
Like,
But
I mean, if you had to
emotions
deal
are
with
hang-ups.
like somebody who's wounded, then obviously you pull them out of the way. But I feel like if a female dropped, then everybody's focus is going to go there, and then everybody's going to try to run for it. It's already going to ruin the formation, and it's going to ruin whatever.
they were going
everybody was
to use
trying
them
do.
as bait,
Yeah.
essentially.
Yeah.
But
The only positive to having the women out there was their ability to talk to the women in the culture, because
Yes.
the men weren't allowed to talk to them. So that's how they would get more information from the wives and the daughters, saying like, oh yeah, this is my husband, or this is my husband's brother. This might be somebody you want to look at.
Exactly.
That kind of thing.
Yep.
You know.
And then, I mean, so going back to like the whole ball thing, like, you know, all these, like they had, like, not, I guess, murals.
Yeah.
Painted, and it was like on the sides of walls of like women, and like they had their shops, like women owned shops and women ran shops. And as soon as we fucking left, and this new Taliban was like, oh, we'll be good to the female, blah 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 blah. They ended up going through, burning the buildings down, pulling them out into the street and fucking executing them.
Yep.
What is new Taliban about that? Not a damn thing. And that's not even to cover the equipment and shit that was left behind, which is pretty sure that other than Dunkirk, that's the second. Well, that's the second. You know, Dunkirk being the first time. The second time that much of military equipment and technology was left behind in a country.
Yeah. Yeah. Wasn't there a video of one of them flying a Black Hawk?
Yep.
Yep, I remember that.
'Cause we
And they
made-
had somebody hanging from the bottom of it.
Yep. They were parading them around, hanging from the bottom of the Black Hawk. We were joking about it because, like, these idiots probably didn't fucking realize that takes JP8. They're probably like, all right, put kerosene in there. It'll go.
It'll work just fine. It's fine. Everything's
And then
fine.
they all just kind of become kamikazes because, like, sure, you figured out how to fly it. How the fuck are you going to land it?
Yeah. Yeah.
So there's that, and then
Although
maintenance.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah. I think they had people that so like they have their own kind of sorta intel units with them as well, and they are probably slightly aware of how things mechanically work, so they can say, oh yeah, this is a Black Hawk, this is the research I found on this, that kind of thing. It's not going to be up to par with what we have in the United States, but it's still going to be something as well. And considering that they had Russian technology with them as well, they probably still
Oh, yeah,
have.
because the Russians left a bunch of shit behind too. Action! All right.
You were born for this director
I
work.
was
And Mark.
and Mark back at it. Yeah. So, I mean, that was a big thing too. Is you look at all the busted tanks, all the busted tank hulks, all the busted up trucks and shit that were literally left there from fucking Russia's attempt in.
Yep.
Just left it behind for them to get.
It's kind of like Biden was like, here you go, we're just going to leave now. We have other fish to fry, like the COVID vaccine.
Yeah.
Or
yeah, that's
other-
a whole nother fucking topic.
100%. But
You notice those pictures too of where, you know, so they all threw down their fucking AKs, right? It's like, oh, American technology. So they pick up this fucking M16. Because I saw a fucking M16 with a carry handle on there.
really,
Where the fuck did you get that? I can't find one here. And you know, and they picked up M4s and stuff. And you look, if you pay attention to the pictures, what are they all doing?
yeah.
Trigger fucking discipline. Where the fuck did they learn that from?
Yeah.
Chances are they were A&A. Well, not A&A. That's, oh yeah, A&A. So they were trained by us.
Yep. 100%.
And yeah.
The whole thing's a mess. The whole thing is a mess. I lost 2 more people that I knew from my first unit in the past year because of this.
Yeah.
It's just because it's like they put their sense of purpose into that, and like kind of like what I was talking about before, like you have these people that come in and you get higher in the ranks, and then the more you stay in the Marine Corps, for certain people, you become the Marine Corps. Like there is no other personality, you are the Marine Corps. And when you spend so much time deployed like that, and then you get all of that taken away, like it was nothing, then how does that make them feel? You know? So
this bleeds completely over into the other topic that we kind of talked briefly about when we were at the Sharks game.
Yeah.
Like veteran suicide and stuff like that. So I've mentioned it on here before. Like I did a Memorial Day post last year, and I was talking about that. I lost somebody every fucking year.
Yep.
And I wake up every fucking morning, and when I look at Facebook, I'm just waiting to fucking see who's fucking next.
Yep.
Who's next in the fucking line. And what really pissed me off about the Afghan bullshit, I lost a really good friend of mine, a really good mentor of mine, back in 2015. He got blown to fucking shit when he was in Afghan, to the point he was... So when I met him, he literally couldn't do his job anymore. He was just drugged up all the fucking time.
Yeah.
He was a mechanic. That was my first unit. I was Baby Boot fucking Johnson. He was Sergeant Johnson. He was Big Johnson. And you know, he had it pretty skate, because he couldn't really like work, and like everyone in the unit knew of him and everything. So he would just kind of like, he'd come in for accountability in the morning, and then he would go fuck off in the jetty on his boat. And then there were times like he'd fucked up on muscle relaxers or something, and I would be trying to work on my track, and I would have a boot mechanic with me that didn't know what the fuck he was doing. Johnson came in, and me and him both fucking tag teamed it and got everything fucking done, and he was like high as fuck on painkillers and shit, because of all the surgeries and everything that transpired after his time in Afghanistan. And
what year was that, out of curiosity?
He went in 2000. It was either 2000, I think it was 2009.
Okay.
It was during the surge. He went during the surge.
Okay.
This happened when I met him was 2013. He was going through a divorce. He had 3 kids. He was not geo-bachelor, but he was, you know, he had his little bachelor pad set up in the barracks, and the kids would come and stay with him there. And
oh wow, I'm glad your unit did that for him.
Yeah, they just kind of let him do it. Things were a little bit different back then, especially the third tracks. 2015 rolls around. I'm sitting at a bar in Jacksonville. I PCS'd from Cali in late 2014. And this is because also I lost my actual mechanic mentor. That wasn't due to suicide. That was a training accident in 2013 when I first hit the fleet. So every year on his death date, which was September 16th, I would get fucking blasted. So I'm sitting in the bar September 16th after work, alone. I was literally the only person in the bar too, and I had Luke Bryan drink a beer playing on the fucking jukebox on fucking repeat. And I'm sitting here on Facebook messaging Jesse back and forth, and we were talking about Nick because we were all really good friends. 10 days later, I wake up and he's gone because he killed himself, and it hit. It hit hard.
Know. That's the biggest thing I hate about suicide is you never know. Like, sure, there might be like little precursor signs, but if somebody really wants to do it, you are not going to know. and it just hits you. Hits you worse than a freight train.
Most of the time you can't tell.
Yeah, and it's awful. I've lost so many people to suicide alone that it's just...
The ones that sit here and like say they're gonna do it and all that shit, they're not the ones to worry about. They're not gonna do it.
Well, they're the ones
they're
that are looking for reassurance of some sort. Like, I'm gonna do it. Like, no, don't do it. Like, here's
They're
why.
looking-
They're looking.
I want to say attention, but like in some cases, yes. In other cases, reassurance. They want to feel like they're still valued.
And I mean, either
But the
way,
ones that really get you are the ones that the funny ones, the fucking
Yep.
that laugh at my pain kind of dudes.
Like, hey, let's go out, let's have a beer. The fun ones, the ones that, like, you don't really think about how they are when they're home alone. Like
Nobody will see it coming.
Yeah, never.
And it sucks. And that fucking cabal, that's where it struck for me. Because like he went through all that pain, all those fucking surgeries, and then he fucking offed himself in the end. For fucking what?
Yeah.
For fucking nothing. All the training and the shit that we did to go to Afghan, to go fight these wars and all this shit. All these dudes that fucking take the option out.
Yeah.
And then that shit happens. The end of this fucking war in a hasty fucking retreat. It was for nothing. We lost everything. We lost all the fucking ground we gained over 20 years. So it fucking hurt.
Yeah, absolutely. I was hurt by that pretty massively. Like, usually when things like that happen, I always call my dad, because my dad was in the Army and my dad was a lieutenant colonel in the Army. So whenever I need advice or I want to talk to him about something military oriented, he's usually my go-to person, just because I trust him a lot. There's a very high level of trust I have with him. And I remember I was talking to him about it, and his voice completely changed when I started talking to him about it. And the only other time I heard him do that in my life was when my sister died. That's the only time. Those were the only 2 times I've heard his voice like go to that low gravelly, like, and he said, like, I'm really fucking mad.
Oh yeah.
And I was like, yeah, I'm really fucking mad too.
So like I don't really talk to most of my family very much. I mean, I talk to my stepdad, but like my real dad and my stepmom, like we didn't really have that great of a relationship.
Yeah.
I mean, we basically, when I talk to my dad, it's like, hey, it's like bro talk. It's like friends.
Yeah.
He has his whole other family and all that shit. When that happened, they both called me, and so did my ex-mother-in-law, that was basically a mother to me, that watched me go through boot camp, watched me go through all of the shit that I did. And she called and she was like, "Are you okay?"
Yeah.
Like, I'm here.
Yeah.
Some people ain't, but I'm here. And I was fucking livid about it. And it hurt yesterday. Like I like the memories thing on Facebook when it pops up. Holy fuck, the posts that I made about it last year.
Yeah.
It's like all my memories from today and yesterday were literally just posts about the families, about all that. I'm like, there was I'm tying this in because it deserves to be, but one of the 13, he had a brother just killed himself because of what happened 2 days ago.
Jesus Christ.
And that's what kind of sparked me wanting to talk about it now.
Yeah, absolutely. No, it's a very awful issue that I don't think has been really represented well. Like, sure, the media touched on it. That's what the media likes to do. They touch on things and then they'll skew it however
Whatever way
to
fits
skew
their
it.
fucking agenda.
But
whether
skewing
it be,
it doesn't honor anybody.
No.
And how did the VA react to that? Like, the VA sent this nice little heartwarming email saying, "We are aware of what happened over there and we are so sorry. Counseling services are available," which I already know is bullshit, because every time I tried to get a counselor with the VA, it took months.
So I'll give you. So one of the reasons that I started this is, guys have been watching this for since I started it last year. That was one of the reasons I started it. It's kind of like therapy, being able to talk to somebody that knows, that understands.
Absolutely.
And I went through the VA, and I had, I had a counselor and everything, and I knew more about that fucking bitch than she knew about me.
That's pretty awful.
Because I didn't want to open up to this fucking civilian that doesn't know shit.
Yeah.
That's literally there because they have to be. They're there because they're getting fucking paid to be there.
Yeah.
And that didn't sit fucking right.
They're government workers.
Exactly. Now there's some that are good. That's, it's like the whole statement, like, all cops are bad. No.
Yeah.
Most cops are good. There's some that are bad. Yeah.
Right.
Then you look at politicians, like, there's only some politicians that are good.
Yeah, it's the opposite.
Most are fucking bad. And in this case, it's kind of the same with the VA. It's like, a lot of them, I don't want to, like, throw a fucking percentage of, like, who's better, like, how many are good versus how many are bad with them.
Yeah, that's really hard to
because I've had a
tell.
mixed review with
Same.
things.
Same.
I've had a mixed review of guys, like, I had a bad experience with it. And really all the fucking VA wanted to do was just drug you up anyways.
Yep.
They just, I was on trial number 4 with antidepressants. I was like, I don't want to take fucking pills.
Yep.
Like, I have dealt with this shit on my own for so fucking long. Yeah, I mean, I would like to talk to somebody that, I don't want to take fucking meds though.
And then
don't fucking suppress me and all that crap. Like, I don't want to be a zombie.
Well, some antidepressants don't necessarily make you a zombie. So what they're trying to do is they're trying to find the right chemical balance for you so that you can essentially be normal or feel normal. But the bad thing about putting people on antidepressants, especially when they don't want to be on antidepressants, is you force them on antidepressants. They're on a certain milligram for a certain amount of time. Either way, you have to wean yourself off.
Yep.
So if you stop going to the VA for whatever reason, you can't get your prescription anymore. You just went cold turkey off of a psychiatric medicine.
Oh, I've done it.
Yeah.
Multiple times. I mean, I still get care from them, but like the next time I would go in and do my primary care thing, and my experience is different.
Yeah.
I get 100. I'm 100% permanent and total.
Yeah.
So my experience is a little bit different with it. When I go back, because they can tell that I haven't like refilled my prescriptions.
Right.
And then I go back and I have my primary care, and I'm like, yeah, this is why I haven't refilled. Dumped them down the fucking toilet. I don't want them. Like, they made me feel fucking weird. I couldn't fucking function. And that's not the route for me. But they kept trying and trying and trying.
Yeah. It took them a while to figure out what exactly worked for me, because I was on Prozac for a while. And I think a while is maybe like 8 years.
Damn.
I think I was on it for about 8 years. I think I started Wellbutrin maybe like 2 years ago, and Wellbutrin's been working really, really well for me. I don't have that zombie feeling. There's just that little itty bitty bit of caffeine in there, so I'm actually like awake.
Yeah.
Like as soon as I take it, like I don't feel fatigued anymore. Like it's still kind of there, because that's why I got out medically, was for depressive neurosis, essentially. So it's just major depression disorder.
Yeah.
So it's not necessarily something that shows itself as I want to kill myself. It can get there, but it doesn't show itself that way. It shows itself physiologically by having a lot of fatigue, feeling like you're heavy, being in a lot more pain. It falls under the same realm as like PTSD, anxiety disorders, that kind of thing. So most of the symptoms are very similar in that, but what these symptoms make me feel depressed. Does that make sense? And it's more of a chemical imbalance than it's anything that I dealt with, if that makes sense. So,
I understand that.
So I'm going to be on pills for a while, unfortunately.
So, did they try putting you on like any sleeping meds?
Yes, they did. They originally gave me Ambien, and that is the worst sleeping pill that you want to be on.
I will never fucking take Ambien.
You should never take it.
So I have a I have a I almost said stigmatism. I have my own personal opinions about pills because I watched what they did to my mom. All right.
Yeah.
I could throw a fucking rager at 16 years old in my house, like drinking all the fucking booze. My mom is literally, she's present, passed out on the fucking couch from Ambien.
Yeah.
Blasting fucking music. I almost caught the fucking house on fire. Correction, I caught the yard on fire. It almost spread to the house because I'm an idiot and threw a gas, like I was putting gas on the fire. It went up into the fucking tank and then I freaked out and yeeted the tank across the yard.
Fair.
So I caught the yard on fire. And you know, I would have like 20 fucking people over. And we'd be throwing a rager and my mom's passed the fuck out on the couch.
Yeah.
Like incoherent as fuck. And she was like that most of the time.
Yeah.
So I would never take Ambien if they told me to.
If it was an emergency situation, like you had just dealt with like a really heavy trauma and they give you like a week's supply of it and then like you use it as an emergency, I can see that, but giving it as a long-term solution for the problem is not a good idea. Because what it does is it also slows down your heart rate as well. So anything that is a depressant, so if you drink on it, that will make your heart rate even slower and slower and slower. It doesn't take that much Ambien to overdose on it. And people will usually just die in their sleep. They'll just stop breathing.
That's been my problem with pills. I like drinking too much.
Yeah, I do. I also like drinking too much, so I moved to melatonin. Melatonin works, I swear. The gummies are great.
I'm on, I think my 3rd string for sleep meds. Because all the ones that I've had, I don't even know what this one's fucking called. It makes me really groggy in the morning, so I try not. It works, but it makes me groggy.
Yeah.
So I try not to take it. I choose liquid poison to help me fucking pass out.
That is a good
when I'm
way.
alone. So it's really only when I'm alone.
Yeah.
With, what was it? They had me on trazodone. That was the first one.
Yeah, they tried to put me on that too.
That shit really fucked with me. Like I had no shit sleep paralysis from that shit.
Yep.
Like I would, there's like 3 or 4 stories from it, but one of the first time where it happened, it was when me and my ex, we had just split up. We were still in the same house, but I was sleeping in the guest bedroom on a futon. Just finished doing my schoolwork. I lay down and go to sleep. Took my meds and shit. Go to sleep, and then I wake up because it sounds like somebody was knocking on the bedroom door, and it was in 3s, like real paranormally, like knocks on the fucking door, and I can't move. Like I'm awake, I can see the room, I can see the door, but I can't speak and I can't move.
Yep.
And then it happened again, and it sounded closer than the door. And then the 3rd time it happened, it was right next to my fucking head, as if it was on the window, and I shot the fuck up screaming.
Yeah.
Awake. Like ran into Katie's room and I was like, did you fucking hear that? Like knocking and shit? And she was like, what the fuck are you talking about? I heard you scream. Like, what are you talking about? So I like fucking inspected the outside of the house, the inside of the house, everything. Nothing.
Yeah. God.
So then I just turned on a Ken Burns fucking Vietnam documentary and never went back to sleep.
Yeah.
And then it happened when I moved in here, the apartment over yonder ways.
Oh, okay.
It happened there a couple times, but it was at that point I was like, oh, I know what this is, because there was one time where it felt like somebody was like a full ass like Bo character, like a 200-some pound fucking hulking dude was fucking laying on me, holding me down, and I couldn't move, couldn't do anything. I'm like, this is normal. It'll pass.
Yeah, that's not normal. That's what I hate about these pills too. Like there's a certain part, like in the veteran community, there's some people that I've met that just like, oh, you're on that pill? I know what that sleep paralysis is like. Like, oh, that's just normal. Like, no, that's not normal. That's not healthy. That's not good. That is scary. That is terrifying. You know, and if you're dealing with somebody that has heavy PTSD symptoms and they're having that happen to them at night, that's kind of like re-traumatizing for them as well. But how does the VA handle more symptoms that are being created by the pills that they're giving their veterans? They give them another prescription, and then they give them another prescription. Like, I remember there was a point where I had maybe like 6 or 7 prescriptions from the VA.
Yep.
And I just stopped. I was just like, I'm throwing all of this out. Like, I got a new psychiatrist.
Pull down much.
Yeah, and I was just like, I'm done with all of these pills. I just want to be on my antidepressant. That is it. You know?
It's gonna sound weird because it's basically legal fucking meth, but one of the best things I ever took was Adderall. I got the fuck off of it because of what it would do as far as making me not eat. Because I would have no fucking appetite when I was on it. I wouldn't eat for 2 fucking days.
Oh, wow.
God forbid I drank on it, which I did a lot. I would drink on it and I would just fucking, you didn't know. Like, you didn't know how drunk you were. Oh, wow. Until the next fucking day. And then you felt it. Because when I started at UNCW, I started well, actually, that first started when I was on deployment. A girl that I was, my ship boo. You know, my deployment Navy boo. She would give me Adderall, and like I would take it before, because the operations that we were doing, we'd be awake for 38, 40 some odd hours straight. And it definitely beat my original method of hand sanitizer on the face to keep awake. Or I took a Gatorade bottle and like filled about that much of it with diesel, and I would just fucking sniff that real quick just to like get the creative juices flowing again, to like wake my ass up real fast. Or caffeine pills, because those fucking rock.
Oh, I remember caffeine pills really well.
But like,
Quickest way to get a panic attack is take like 3 of those at the same time and have Monster or Red Bull. Oh yeah. Oh yeah, but you feel like you need it at the time because it's also the work environment that the Marine Corps, like, you don't really look forward to going to work all the time because of the toxic environment that the military tends to breed. So you're already going into work feeling fatigued and just like, oh, I don't really want to go.
Done with it.
And then you sit down, or like, especially in my case, since I wasn't really in an active job, I had a desk job with a computer. You just sit there and you're just droning and you're just feeling yourself kind of nod out. So caffeine pills, there we go, easy fix. Now you can continue making that PowerPoint slide that makes 0 sense.
That nobody's gonna fucking pay attention to anyway.
No. Yeah.
Anytime we had intel briefs like that, I was like, I fucking know this.
Yep.
Stand up, Marine, you're falling asleep.
Yeah.
Fucking, I kind of get that too, because I had my last, so I denied recruiting orders, which is how I ended up getting out, right? I was a section leader prior to that. When I denied recruiting orders, and I told my first sergeant shit I had no plans of re-enlisting again. They took me off the line for my last year and put me in the company office to do all to be the training NCO, which is also when they started doing the fucking training schedules. So we had an Excel document of every section, like every platoon or every company, every section, every fucking waking second of the day was planned out on this fucking Excel spreadsheet. And heaven forbid, like, and we had to have this shit posted too, like down at the ramp. So there would be like a fucking whiteboard at the QuadCon for the platoon, and it would say like, fucking 10 to 11, you're doing troop compartment PMCS. You're doing 11 to 12, you're doing X, Y, and Z. And the battalion commander would come down and he would find the Buddhist Marine down there and be like, what you working on, Duff Dog? And if he didn't say what was on the training schedule, if he wasn't working on that part of the vehicle, God fucking forbid. So it was the dumbest fucking shit ever. But I had to do that every week. I had to run all the training and stuff for, like sending dudes to corporal's course, sergeant's course, all that stuff. The MICLET courses, coach's course, all that shit. And that got so fucking monotonous. At the end of that, I was drinking 5 or 6 Monsters a day. Yeah. On top of coffee in the morning that I would have on the way there.
Oh my god.
Coffee and dip, the best shit cocktail there is.
Yep.
I still do that.
Coffee, Monster, and Newport cigarettes for me, because the only breaks we got were cigarette
fucking
breaks.
dark green Marine or some shit?
Well, they
Newports?
So before I went to Okinawa, I smoked smooths. And when I got to Okinawa, they didn't have smooths for whatever reason. So the next closest thing was Newports. And Newports were actually a lot less intense, surprisingly. Like, and I got really used to those, and then I came back home, got smooths, and I was like, I can't do this. I can't do this anymore.
I can't do this anymore. When I did smoke, when I was in, I smoked Lucky Strikes. Mm-hmm. No filter.
Yep.
No filter.
The proper way, right?
The real way. Mm-hmm. You had to, like, and whenever we went on, like, DFTs and stuff, we went on DFT to AP Hill. Fuck that place, by the way. Fuck you, Army, for that. When we went up to AP Hill to do training, so you had your Ranger band on your Kevlar. I had an AP brush stuck in there, fucking peace sign, Born to Kill. I did the whole, like, fucking Full Metal Jacket thing. I had the Lucky Strikes shoved in the Ranger band. It was fucking awesome.
I bet.
I will never smoke those again, though. They were very harsh.
Yeah. My fiance smokes the filtered ones, and those are pretty rough.
Oh yeah, we had that. We had that conversation last weekend when I saw you pull out a fucking Lucky Strikes box, you mook.
But
yeah,
the mental health stuff in the VA really needs to be
It needs to be
aggressively looked at and aggressively changed. Like, I don't know why. Like, I mean, especially since they know veteran suicide is such a big issue. Like, why wouldn't you take the time to look at your program, see what you're doing wrong, and try to, create something new that can actually benefit people, try to get, and maybe
or
part
get
of it
people
is,
in there that give a shit.
Yeah, get people that actually want to work there and actually want to give a shit about people, but it's all money because it's a government thing, so maybe they'll change their ways, hopefully they do. I would still encourage anybody that has even feelings of restlessness or anxiety, like it's all, even if there's nothing really going on with you, it's always healthy to talk to somebody or have somebody to talk to.
Yeah.
Because a lot of things I've noticed with people that become suicidal and end up committing suicide is that feeling of isolation. There is nobody else except them anymore. So then all they have to listen to is their conscience.
They're demons.
The demons. Yeah, essentially. Not in the schizophrenic way, but yeah.
I have multiple voices.
Yeah. I have that, it's kind of like the good demon and the evil demon.
Yeah, a fucking
kind of thing. Like,
God
keep
devil.
drinking, drink Fireball,
Keep drinking. Keep drinking more.
Yeah, drink more, you little bitch. Like.
And then there's like one back here that's like, water.
Yep.
And then these two are like, shut the fuck up.
Excuse me, water?
Food? No. So, okay, so to close out, because we're going on 60 minutes now.
Oh, damn.
Just like the show.
Yeah.
All right, guys. It's been a pleasure talking with you.
Pleasure as well.
And having you on, and hopefully have you on again.
Absolutely.
Down the road.
Definitely.
Definitely like doing recap episodes. So, if you haven't already, subscribe to the motherfucking channel. Like this video. Like all the videos. And we'll see you next time, guys. Also, if you haven't yet, visit the website. I'm going to post the link to it in the description. I have the OD green and black Tactfully Misguided logo shirts now. Launched the website earlier this week. So those are up and running and we're all operational there. So if you'd like to get some merch, also use discount code GOODCOOKIE for free shipping. All right, guys. With that, we'll see you next time. Finger guns. So anyways, I started blasting.